Hello there, my name is Nick Georgiev. I'm Antelope Audio's UK ambassador, and I'm here to present to you the new ZEN Synergy Core. So this is a new version of one of our best-selling interfaces, the ZEN. This one is an upgraded version of it, a new one. The main differences are that this one has new DSP chips built inside, so you're no longer running only the FPGA effects that Antelope builds, but the interface now is open to collaboration with third-party plugins. And one of the plugins that currently is available for this plugin is the Antares Auto-Tune. So maybe I can show you quickly the box first. So it's a desktop interface. One of the really interesting thing about this is that for an interface of this size, there's quite an impressive I/O. So if you look at it first on the front, we've got two headphone outputs and two reamper outputs. Now, there's also a set of 4 instrument inputs or line inputs right here. Now, why is it cool to have reamper outputs? So that's dedicated outputs for when you want to connect a signal that you already have recorded in your DAW to a guitar amplifier or some like guitar, foot pedals, and sort of run a signal that's already recorded in your DAW through that kind of gear. And so they would provide the correct impedance level, and they would also turn the signal from balanced to unbalanced so that it's as if that's a guitar output, right? So that's something quite unique. Most audio interfaces don't have that. You can do it with a line output, but the sound won't be as good. So then the idea here is that with these instrument inputs on the front, you could connect your guitar or bass, record it clean into a DAW, but however, now remember that this thing has also DSP chips inside, and so the interface has built-in guitar emulation, so you can have things like guitar cabinets, amplifiers, and on top of that, it also runs other effects such as vintage EQs, compressors, mic pre's, and also some modulation now, such as tremolos, vibratos, wah-wah. So imagine that you're recording something at home. You can then go straight into the DI input, record your guitar clean, but listen to it with those effects. Then edit the performance at home, and once it's edited, go to recording studio, plug it into a guitar amp, reamp it, and use the mic pre's at the back of the interface to record the amplifier signal with some real microphones. So that's a really interesting way to work with the interface, and especially if you're recording guitars. Other than that, we also have 4 Class A mic pre's at the back of the interface. They can also be used as line inputs, but these are 4 mic pre's, extremely high quality, discrete mic pre's. Apart from that, we also have a D-sub here with 8 line outputs. So that's actually quite handy. You could perhaps connect that to a small summing mixer for analog summing, and or if you want to send something to some outboard devices. Other than these 8 line outputs, you also have the monitor out here, which is on TRSs. So that's a dedicated DAC, which has higher specs, higher dynamic range, very high dynamic range. That's where you would usually connect your speakers. And if you do that, you've got the handy volume control here on the top, which can control the level of your loudspeakers. Some other features of this interface is that it's got Talkback, so that's quite nice, and you can route the Talkback with the built-in digital routing matrix in the interface to your headphones or to your monitors. So it's quite flexible. You don't need a dedicated mic for that. You can just do it. It's actually, the mic is right there, that little hole there. It's the Talkback mic. There's also a touchscreen here for convenience, where you can access different kinds of functionalities. So you could either do it from here, or you can do it from your computer and the control panel that's installed on your computer. And another interesting thing about it is the connectivity of the interface. So let's actually maybe go through the different digital I/O. So we got SPDIF here, input and output for stereo in and out. We also have an ADAT, And another thing is the fact that the interface can be used either over USB or Thunderbolt 3, or that's like this the USB-C type of connector. So that's actually provides quite a lot of convenience. And one advantage of the Thunderbolt device connection is that you can then actually use the DSP chips as a plugin inside your DAW. So there's two ways to use the plugins that come with this interface. You can either, you can record with them or just monitor with them and do that through the control panel of the interface. And a typical way to do this would be, let's say in Pro Tools, you could do it as hardware inserts. But if you're not used to that workflow and you want a workflow that is more similar to using native plugins in your DAW, then you need the Thunderbolt connection, and that allows for that AFX to DAW plugin to be directly accessed as an insert in your DAW and recall the different effects that you've got there. So quite a lot in a very small box, and I hope people will find it useful. And one last thing, actually, that might seem very minor, but actually I quite like it, is that the power supply is, you screw it, and actually you can't accidentally unplug that unless you really want to. Was that good? Yeah. That was good? Yeah, I'm happy that I can help you, man. Yeah.